Oh iya, di Bali tuh bebas banget ya guys ya. Aduh.
You Balinese? No, 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 no.
But if we compare like Bali and Malaysia, I think one of the mistakes that the Indonesian government has made with Bali is that Westerners or foreigners have been allowed to kind of come in and be completely prioritized.
Compared to the other countries in the region. And the food in Malaysia is the best I've tasted across
Oh.
all of the world.
Once you come to Malaysia, you don't have to go outside of Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jumpa lagi dengan saya CAKMOJIB. Gimana kabar teman-teman semua? Semoga sehat selalu dalam lindungan Allah Subhanahu wa taala, dijauhkan dari segala mara bahaya, malapetaka, bencana dan bala serta berbagai macam penyakit. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Oke guys, kali ini kita akan reaksi sebuah video guys ya, yang sangat menarik sekali. Dan ini gila sih memang. Kenapa ya bule-bule ataupun pendatang-pendatang asing itu memilih Malaysia dan mengcompare dengan Bali gitu. Katanya Bali seperti ini, seperti itu, dan Malaysia seperti ini dan seperti itu. Ini sangat menarik untuk kita tonton dari awal sampai akhir supaya kita tidak salah paham. Nanti kalau salah paham susah ya guys ya. Jadi jom kita simak videonya. Let's go. Subscribe guys channelnya Ria Oktorina.
Belakangan ini muncul cerita dari sebagian turis asing yang merasa kecewa saat pertama kali datang ke Malaysia. Mereka datang dengan ekspektasi tertentu, lalu membandingkan Malaysia dengan destinasi wisata seperti Bali atau Thailand. Dari sinilah muncul pertanyaan, mengapa suasana wisata di Malaysia terasa berbeda dan tidak dipenuhi pesta seperti yang mereka bayangkan? Namun di saat yang sama, ramai orang luar negeri justru menyokong keputusan Malaysia yang tetap mempertahankan marwah negara dengan membatasi perilaku turis agar tidak berubah seperti Thailand atau Bali yang identik dengan pesta. Karena Malaysia dikenal sebagai negara yang menjunjung tinggi nilai syariat Islam.
Nah, ini di Bali. Oh iya, di Bali tuh bebas banget ya guys ya. Aduh.
I think one of the reasons that I prefer Malaysia to Bali in particular. I think it's very important in the Indonesian context to actually talk about Bali and not Indonesia, because Indonesia is 17,000 islands and Jakarta, for example, is like a drastically different place than Bali. But if we compare like Bali and Malaysia, I think one of the mistakes that the Indonesian government has made with Bali is that Westerners or foreigners have been allowed to kind of come in and be completely prioritized, and there hasn't been always the consideration for local people and making sure that there are actual triple wins happening, meaning triple wins for the government, wins for the local community, and wins for those foreign visitors. And I think that this is part of why Bali is not a great place to be now, because the traffic is terrible, because road infrastructure has not been sufficiently invested in to actually cope with the number of people who have come in. There's been very little regard to maintaining Indonesian character, Indonesian culture, or Balinese character, Balinese culture on the island. It really is, you go there now and it is influencers everywhere, wannabe entrepreneurs everywhere. And while you can kind of look at that as like, oh, okay, so this is now a hub of global culture. I'm most inspired by places that manage to balance global culture with local culture and perhaps are able to present global culture with a very distinctive taste of local culture.
Don't y'all come playing with Bali. Bali is not playing with y'all. Y'all better. Malaysia, I'm sorry. I love Malaysia. But don't tell everybody that I love Malaysia, because we don't want everybody in Malaysia, okay? You Balinese? No, 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 no. No. It's too much going on. But I feel you though. You do vacation in Bali. Then you go back to your nice place in Malaysia and don't tell nobody you in Malaysia. It's not for that. Don't be quiet. Shh. Malaysia is the best country in Southeast Asia. Shh. Don't tell nobody. We don't want people to know that.
Jangan kasih tahu ke siapa-siapa katanya guys. Jangan kasih tahu. Iya, biar orang nggak tahu guys. Biar orang ke Bali. Biar ke Bali aja semua guys. Gak apa-apa ya. Saya senang istilahnya. Indonesia kan 10 juta tuh wisatawannya ya kan. Wisatawannya itu 10 juta. Malaysia 28 juta ya kan. 8 jutanya aja kasih ke Indonesia biar 18 juta guys ya kan. Biar ekonomi Indonesia tuh lebih baik lah ya kan. Gak Malaysia aja yang lebih baik.
Okay? And keep your voice down. Don't even say Malaysia, okay? Stop it. No, go to Bali. Jesus, hallelujah.
So many Malaysians comment this, and honestly, I was a little bit surprised to see this comment again and again. Please keep quiet, because everyone knows that tourism is good for the local economy. Tourists come, tourists spend money. Hotels, tourist shops, museums, food, and whatever else. I really found it strange, and I decided to read more comments. Scrolling, and I realized that one of the real fears that many Malaysians have is Malaysia becoming the next Bali or the next Phuket, which, by the way, I completely understand, because we've all seen videos of Bali and Phuket and how at times it can become terrible for the locals, yet wonderful for the tourists. So reading all those comments, I really understand the concern. Malaysia has so much heritage, so much culture, that exchanging it for a crazy tourist would be such a sad deal, such a sad trade. By the way, look at the views. However, I don't think that Malaysia is at risk of this crazy, problematic tourist crisis. And that is for two main reasons. Reason number one, very simple. Malaysian arak is not cheap. That's the main thing that attracts this kind of tourists, is cheap alcohol. Compared to Thailand, compared to Bali. Yes, by the way, you can look at Thai alcohol tax and say, oh, it's quite high as well. But they have their own locally made cheap alcohol, all the chang and whatever. Yeah, that's one of the main things that attracts this kind of tourist. Reason number two, the reputation of the country. Especially if you're looking at Malaysia as someone from outside of Malaysia, a modest, conservative, non-drinking country. And if you are a crazy tourist that wants to have that kind of fun, a modest, conservative, non-drinking country is very unlikely to be on your list of places to go. The good thing though is
Tapi aneh Pak Bule, meskipun istilahnya tidak banyak istilahnya hal-hal yang bebas seperti itu, Malaysia masih tinggi pelancongannya, gila sih ya.
Malaysia's tourism is still booming, still managing to attract a lot of tourists. But they're coming here for the right reason. And it is much easier to attract tourists to a country the way that Thailand did a few years ago. Yeah, you attract them, but what happens to a country at the end of the day? I've been to Phuket myself, and would I even think considering living there? No, because it's unlivable. Good for Malaysia, seriously, respect to Malaysia for being a growing and leading tourist destination without using all those low ways. And I hope that Malaysia's tourism keeps growing without sacrificing a single piece of its Malaysian soul. By the way, if you're Malaysian, follow me and let's discuss all these interesting things together. I've lived here in Malaysia for half my life and I think there are so many things to discuss and explore. Jumpa lagi semua. Terima kasih daun keladi. Ada masa jumpa lagi.
If you were to ask me what I would change about Malaysia, it's probably going to be the way how they promote their tourism. Because it's such a hidden part, it's a small piece of heaven, hidden between Thailand that everyone heard of, Singapore, and Indonesia. Indonesia has been heard of from point of view of Bali, right? Yeah. But Malaysia, it's right in the middle. And from a promotion perspective, I haven't heard about Malaysia as much as one should praise Malaysia until I've actually moved here. I've never been in Malaysia. I've never been to Southeast Asia until I moved to Malaysia. And obviously now I've been here for 3 years. I've traveled around. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. So yes, it's very hard to find something that's not good about Malaysia.
The most underrated city in the world. We are back in Kuala Lumpur. The KL Tower and the Menara 118, Merdeka Menara 118 just behind as well. I absolutely love this place. It is such good energy, loads of food, loads of lovely people, and extremely affordable as well. Extremely affordable. My accommodation has a pool, has a gym. It's like £6 a night. It's ridiculous.
Malaysia is the most underrated country in Southeast Asia. I just spent a month there, and here's what I think. everyone actually speaks English there. It's also relatively clean compared to the other countries in the region. And the food in Malaysia is the best I've tasted across all of the world. Kuala Lumpur is also super modern with great infrastructure. And it's way less touristy than Thailand. The country is Muslim, so I thought it was going to be super strict. But you can actually buy alcohol. They have nightclubs. It's not as great as other countries, and alcohol is quite expensive. What you're looking for, don't go to Malaysia. One thing I forgot to say is how cheap Malaysia is. I found that some things are actually cheaper than in Thailand, but some things like alcohol, for example, are more expensive. One of the downsides with Malaysia is that it's not as flashy as other countries. It doesn't have so many tourist attractions, but it's definitely a great place to live long term.
Oh, jadi Malaysia itu kalau untuk sebentar itu enggak begitu ini ya guys ya, kayak pelancong cuma sebentar itu. Tapi dia lebih disarankan untuk pelancong yang pengen tinggal lama gitu. Menarik ya.
There's this one comment about Malaysia that I keep hearing from foreigners that are visiting Malaysia for the first time. And it always makes me think, like, really, where do you guys take it from? Every time I meet some foreigners that are visiting Malaysia for the first time, I ask them, how do you like it? How's your experience in KL? And literally like 7 out of 10 people say, I did not expect KL to be like this. I'm always asking them, okay, what did you expect and what do you mean? And then say that they did not expect KL to be so modern and so developed. And I'm always thinking, what did you think it's gonna be? Surely you've heard about Petronas. Did you think it's like built in the middle of the jungle? I've heard people comparing it to the cities in the US and saying that it's looking very wealthy, very developed, and very urban. But then for me, I was surprised the other way around. Before I came here, obviously with the research and with knowledge about Twin Towers, I was expecting KL to be quite well developed and the skyline being very impressive. But I did not expect it to be so green. And that's what stood out to me at the very beginning, that even though it's such a metropolitan city, the crazy amount of high buildings and complex roads, that is still so green and so jungly. So I don't know where do people get that expectation from, but I'm every time surprised by this comment. Let me know what comments have you heard about KL or Malaysia that made you surprised.
This doesn't feel like Malaysia, you know. This is on another level, that's for sure. Look at the amount of people next to Louis Vuitton in here. Wow, this is such a cool place. I guess people come here maybe to make some photos or something. Look, Christian.
Menariknya tuh di sana meskipun crowded ataupun rame, itu tidak yang desak-desakan gitu loh guys ya. Jadi teratur gitu ya.
Dior, JD, you've got Louis Vuitton. Wow. What a beautiful place. I'm really impressed, guys. That's very nice. Got Rolex on the other street. A lot of photo shooting going on. Right, so I just walked around the corner and look at that. You've got Balenciaga, you've got Saint Laurent, Richard Mille, Burberry, Tiffany, Glen. All the most famous brands in the world, and Rolex, of course. This is insane. I'm so impressed with Kuala Lumpur. Wow. Probably the best city in the world, I would say. Very safe, I feel very safe, very clean, beautiful, outstanding architecture, guys. Wow.
Itu emang aneh gitu ya, bangunan-bangunan di sana tuh megah-megah gitu loh guys ya. Padahal ya lebih apa ya guys, lebih cepat kita merdekanya gitu kan. Udah lama kita gitu, tapi merdekanya kok kita masih belum merdeka banget gitu kayaknya ya.
I really don't understand why people always go to Kuala Lumpur and skip other places in Malaysia, because all the country has many interesting, beautiful places, interesting culture, food, and everything is amazing. I spent 1 month in Malaysia and it was not enough. I had to leave the country because my visa is expired, but I definitely want to come back. I haven't been to all the places because I love slow traveling, but I visited Penang, Kuala Terengganu, Pulau Kapas, my favorite place, Kuala Lumpur, and Melaka. And 1 month is really not enough. I met the best people here, and honestly, I think here's the most friendly people I ever met during my almost 2 years of traveling. So if you're traveling in Southeast Asia, you have to explore Malaysia more. I bet you'll be in love.
Something I really love about Malaysia, as someone
Pasti
who's
jatuh
lived in
cinta
Malaysia for
katanya.
about half my life, no, it's not the food, it's not the people. Yes, I do love them all, but there is something that I think not many foreigners know about. And that is, of course, that once you come to Malaysia, you don't have to go outside of Malaysia. That means you don't have to go outside of Malaysia to get some medical procedure done. You don't have to go outside of Malaysia to get anything done, because actually Malaysia is advanced to such a level where it practically has everything that you might imagine to the top level. For example, 2 weeks ago, I went to get a hair transplant done. By the way, have a look. All the redness is gone. I'm feeling completely fine. That's because it was done by some of the top professionals. I've been watching videos online of people flying to Turkey to get it done. Of people flying wherever else to get it done. And guess what? I've always seen those recovery videos of people looking like Megamind, you know. I was expecting to be having this kind of reaction. Lucky for me, this is how I looked after 2 weeks. Obviously, everyone is going to have a different reaction, this and that. The point is, my friends from Russia, my friends from Europe were messaging me and saying, wow, we didn't know that Malaysia has this kind of procedures. We didn't know that you can get this done in Malaysia. That's awesome. And why can it be awesome for them, by the way, is because the price in Malaysia for this top kind of quality that you can get here is reasonable. And this is just one procedure. When I was 11 years old, I had my tonsils removed here. So that's like a whole different kind of a surgery, right? And guess what? I didn't even have to pay for it. The insurance covered it. So that's another nice thing about living in Malaysia. The insurance, I guess, maybe was a little bit more generous about 10 years ago. Yeah, well, I'm not here complaining. You have everything here. You don't have a reason to even go out of here. So yeah, terima kasih Malaysia. Since I came here when I was 11 years old, still living here, and even for a vacation. Langkawi, Port Dickson, once in a while, I guess it's nice to go somewhere, yeah? But mana-mana pun boleh di sini lah. Support local dan eleksi bro. Budak kampung selalu.
Why do I love Malaysia? Because this country make my life simpler. First, you don't need to buy warm clothes. It's always summer. You never have to worry about 4 seasons. Second, the food. And anywhere I go, I can find something incredible. It makes me feel safe and taken care of. And the third, most important thing, it teaches you patience. You cannot hustle here 24/7. Things move slower. You have to wait. And this slowness saved me from my own hustle culture mentality. Dear Malaysia, and to all the Malaysian people, thank you so much for this beautiful country.
Oke guys, gila, keren banget ya. Pelancong ramai yang tak sadar gitu ya. Malaysia rupanya antara negara paling terjaga di dunia gitu loh guys ya. Alright guys, dan keren sih. Dan dari video ini kita bisa melihat bagaimana Malaysia menjadi tempat tinggal yang nyaman untuk mereka, untuk pelancongan. Bahkan mungkin saya gak tahu juga karena saya belum pernah ke Malaysia. Tapi Bang NDTK itu mengatakan dia mau pindah ke Malaysia guys ya. Karena kenapa? Karena dia sangat merasa nyaman dan aman di sana, pendidikan terjamin, kesehatan mantap gitu kan, pendapatan oke gitu kan. Itu makanya mau pindah ke Malaysia katanya guys ya. Jadi ya saya tidak dapat memungkiri juga ya, ada saudara-saudara saya tinggal di sana itu nggak mau balik sampai sekarang guys ya, karena saking nyamannya di Malaysia itu ya, begitulah. Jadi tidak bisa dipungkiri juga bahwasanya mereka memang membuat membuat para pendatang asing itu nyaman di sana. Tapi heran aja sih guys, kenapa pelancongan di Malaysia itu kayak kita nggak begitu banyak menonton promosi-promosi mereka, tapi pelancongannya 28 juta guys. Gila nggak sih? Gila banget gitu. Kita yang promosi-promosi malah cuma 10 juta, tapi alhamdulillah gitu loh guys ya. Oke, terima kasih buat teman-teman semua yang sudah nonton. Jangan lupa like, share, komen, subscribe. Saya pamit undur diri. Apabila ada salah kata mohon dimaafkan. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.